Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rex, and today's story is going to be about the worst substitute teacher I have ever had. Let's get into this video. Okay, this story takes place back in the 5th grade, a couple years ago. I think 4 years ago, I'm not pretty sure. But it started like any other normal day. I woke up, took a shower, got ready for school, and I caught my bus. Now, everybody knew we were going to have a sub today. Our teacher told us that day prior, so everybody was prepared to have a sub. But what I wasn't prepared for was the rudeness that was going to get tossed at me, and the worst day I had in 5th grade. So, usually in the mornings, everybody would stand outside waiting for our teachers to open the door, and we would wait for like 10-15 minutes, and we're waiting, and our sub finally opens the door. So she's waiting at the door, um, saying good morning, hi, how are you, regular teacher stuff. And kids are walking in, and as soon as I get to the door, she looks at me and she's like, this isn't your class. And I'm like, yes it is. She's like, no it's not. I'm like, yeah, this is my class. She's like, this isn't your class. And I had to ask some other students, some other classmates, to tell her that this was my class, and she still didn't believe them or me. So I had to go get another teacher to convince her that this is my classroom. And after like a couple of minutes of trying to explain to her this is my classroom, she finally lets me in. And at the end of the day, we stack our chairs. So in the morning, we have to go get chairs from a stack and bring it to our desk. So as soon as I come in, I grab my chair and I'm going to my desk. Now our regular teacher would switch seating every other month. So in this rotation for seating, my seat was close to the water fountain. So I'm walking to my desk, and this teacher gets in front of my face and says, "You have to ask to get water." I said, "Oh, I'm not going to get water. I'm going to sit in my chair." So I move to the side and I start walking again, and she gets in front of my face and she's like, "You have to ask." So I was like, "What do I have to ask to go to my seat? Everybody else is going to their seat. What do I have to ask?" She's like, "Ask." So I was like, "Can I go to my seat?" She's like, "I don't know. Can you?" So I was like, "May I go to my seat?" And she was like, "Yes, you may." So I finally sit down, and in our morning in class, our teacher would usually read a book to us, a monthly book. We would read books every other month, and we would do some type of morning slip. So she's reading our book, and everybody's doing their morning slip. But then she goes off topic and she starts talking about her son. And she's talking about her son for a long time, like a long time, for like 30 minutes. But I didn't have a problem with that. The problem was I broke my pencil and I had to sharpen it. I knew if I didn't ask her to sharpen my pencil, she was gonna get mad at me. So I raised my hand and I was trying to ask her if I could sharpen my pencil. She looked at me and went back to talking about her son. So I'm sitting there without my work finished and a broken pencil. So I'm like, okay, if I don't get this work done, she's gonna yell at me. If I sharpen my pencil while she's talking, she's gonna yell at me. So I was like, okay, forget it. I'm taking the chance. I get up to sharpen my pencil. We had a pencil sharpener in the corner of the room for everyone to use that was close to me. So I get up to sharpen it, and she looks at me and she's like, "Oh my God, that is so rude. You are so mean and disrespectful. How could you do that? How would they let you into this school? How would they let you be in this classroom? You're a terrible kid." I was like, "Well, I raised my hand and you looked at me and you just kept on talking. I want to ask you if I could sharpen my pencil." And she was like, "That doesn't matter. You should have asked." I was like, "I was trying to." She's like, "You're so rude and disrespectful." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And I sit down. I'm trying to keep my cool because back then I wasn't the calmest kid. My anger issues were through the roof. Now they're a lot better. I don't really get mad easily. But back then my anger issues were terrible. So it was impressive. I was keeping my cool. So I sit back down and I finish my work, and I had this social skills class because my social skills weren't good at all. They're still not. I don't really like talking to people, but they're definitely better than what they were in 5th grade. And me and a friend, I'm gonna name this friend Alex, had this class together. So I look at Alex, he looks at me, and we're like, okay, it's time to go. So we get up and we start walking out. She lets Alex leave, but then she looks at me and she's like, "Where are you going? You never asked to get out of your seat. You're being disrespectful." I said, "Oh, I have a social skills class." And she's like, "Oh, well, hurry up and get out of my class because you're disrespectful." So I said, "Okay." So I left, and this class wasn't a regular classroom. At first, it was a music room because the years prior, when I was going to the school from kindergarten, it was always used as a music room or a room to store stuff. But now they turned it into a classroom, so it didn't have a sink or a water fountain. If you wanted to get water, you'd have to go back to your homeroom class to get water from your water fountain. So me and Alex are thirsty. So me and him both go back to our class to get water from our water fountain. And like in the morning, she let Alex go in perfectly fine. But as soon as I walk in, she's like, "Who are you? I never seen you in my class." And I was like, "Well, this isn't your class. And two, I was just here an hour ago." She's like, "Well, hurry up. You're being disrespectful and disrupting the classwork." I was like, "Alright, whatever." So I get my water and me and Alex leave. Me and Alex stay in that class for a couple more hours. So when we go back to our homeroom class, it's like 11 o'clock. Our lunch starts at 12. For that whole hour, she did nothing. Absolutely nothing to me. She didn't say nothing. She wasn't rude. I was like, thank God. Hopefully for the rest of the day it stays like this. Hopefully she's not mean. Hopefully she doesn't say anything to me. I just want to have a chill day, finish work, and go home. And just, probably play some Call of Duty or something. I don't want to deal with this. So she's nice to me for that whole hour. Well, not nice, she just doesn't talk to me for that whole hour. So I'm like, alright, hopefully it's like that for the rest of the day. Lunch comes up, and we have lunch in our classroom. And the teachers would eat their lunch in the teacher's room, or whatever it's called. And we had specific lunchroom teachers that would watch us eat lunch in our homeroom classes. So we're eating lunch, and when our homeroom teacher, substitute teacher, is coming back, I'm finishing up my lunch. So I throw away my garbage, I chew my food, and I'm done eating. Class starts, and I have to yawn. So I yawn, and she looks at me with the most disgusted face and says, "That is so disgusting and vile. That is absolutely nasty. You are a terrible child." I was like, "Why are you always coming for me?" She's like, "That doesn't matter. That's disgusting," and blah blah blah. She's just going off on me. So I snap finally. I finally snap. I'm like, just because your life is going terribly outside of school, and just because you have a bad life doesn't mean you take it out on other people that did nothing to you. So if I were you, I'd do your job and stop talking to me and sit down. And she was so mad. She called our dean, and I was sent to our dean's office. So I'm going to our dean's office, and our dean is chill. She likes to listen to what people say and get everyone's side of the story before any punishment has been made, okay? So I'm telling my dean what's going on, and I tell her, and she's like, "Okay, all right." So she's listening, and my dean is like, "Okay, well, this is dumb." She's like, "Well, that's not a reason to be sent down here and be punished. So go to your recess, because after our lunch we have recess." So I'm sent to recess, and she says, "After recess, try to make up with the teacher." So I was like, "Okay." And after recess, I'm going back to my homeroom class, and I'm trying to make up with this teacher because I'm not the type of person to hold grudges. And that's still not me. If someone's being mean to me, I'm probably gonna be like, "Yo, I just want to solve this problem and squash it." I'm not that type of person. So when everybody's going in, I stop her and I say, "Hey, can I talk to you?" She's like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Listen, I'm sorry if I came off disrespectful. That's not what I want to come off as. We had a bad day, and I hope you accept my apology. But you were just pushing my buttons, and I didn't like that. Trying to make up with the teacher." And I thought she would actually accept my apology, but she didn't. She said, "Here's the problem with you though. You always like to start stuff, and you always think people are coming after you when they're not, and it's all your fault." And this teacher hasn't known me for even a whole day. All these other teachers that at the school knew me since kindergarten to now. All these other teachers knew who I was and knew I wasn't that type of kid. And this lady hasn't even known me for a day and says I'm the type of person that always starts problems. I'm like, for one, you don't even know me. And I just try to apologize to you, and that's what you say. I was like, I can't wait until you leave my school and go teach somewhere else because you are a terrible teacher, and I pray to God no one else gets you. And I walked back into class, and she didn't say anything to me for the rest of the day. School finally ends, and I leave. But I didn't get off easily because the next day she wrote nasty stuff about me. So I got in trouble, and I just spent an hour with my dean. But since my dean understood, my dean let me only stay in there for an hour. So yeah, that's really it. I hope I never see that teacher again. To be honest, I forgot her name. If I knew her name, I would have left it in the story because she is a terrible teacher. But if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. I'd appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe. You don't have to. I don't really care if you do or not. But thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a great day. Peace out.